So let's get some stuff moved out of the way and stick you in a mount. Hopefully you guys all find this live. Hi, I'm Tiffany. Welcome to my Quilting Live. Today's Sunday, where I hope to inspire you to not grab your hair while talking and so on a Sunday. Okay, let's get this moved out of the way because this is just going to be annoying. Okay, here we go. Let's throw you out of the way, turn you off, off. All right, let's get a mount. And a microphone. All right, here we go, guys. I'm going to take you out of this mount real quick. And put you in here. And give you a microphone. And a plug. All right, you guys could just stare right there for a second. Stare into the abyss for a minute. I wasn't expecting to have issues. It was working perfectly fine before.
Not on my end. I told you something was going on. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, but that computer has nothing to do with my live stream. My live stream just kept kicking the camera off. All right. Let me grab a microphone, and that's all I need. Because you guys got to be able to hear me, so.
Well, I could have did all that, honey. The charger. You didn't need them to do that.
All right.
You don't ever let me help. I'm sitting right here, right next to the phone. Right now.
Should be able to hear me now. You should be able to hear me just fine. There we go. Right there's good. All right, here I am. Sorry about that. I figured I'd just get it live so that everybody could find the video before I take all this other stuff and undo it all. Oh, technology and me don't get along. You know, like whatsoever.
You do well with technology. It's me.
I know how to use the stuff, but I don't know how to fix it when it goes off or when it undoes itself or any of the things that it does. So
I'm the one that breaks every piece of technology I've tried.
Yeah.
Why you didn't believe me? I told you the computer wasn't working.
All right, so I have now 3 things here of what I'm going to be used as hanging hooks. I don't need all 3. I just made the 3rd one on the last video so that you guys can see that I was using the hem. It's an 1/8 of an inch of a hem foot to do that. So yeah, that's what I did. Now I got to change that foot out and put a regular one on and actually give myself some lighting and then get going here. See, now I'm spinning here. Is it spinning up there? It's our internet today. Oh, okay. Let's put this hem foot away. Oh, I needed it still. That's okay. I'm probably not going to get all these done in one day, so we're just going to put that there. They're easy to change out. Nope, no unicorn hoodie today because it got washed, and it's actually nice out. It's like 72 degrees outside today. Now, it hadn't been that temperature in a while. All right, so I'm going to take one of these, just one to start with, and it's going to be, I'm going to do 5 inches. No, I'm going to do 2, 3 inches. Let's see how big 3 inches is. No, let's do, how big is that? 5 inches. Yep, we're going to go 5 inches. So I'm going to cut off a few 5-inch segments of this. So there's one 5-inch one. And this is not going to be raw edge because it's going to get hidden into the binding. So there's 2. Three. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why anything happens
Well, no, I mean, your
with it.
phone is still a better camera than
Yeah,
your
my
web.
phone is a better camera than the webcams that I have. So, let's see what this one is. Ooh, look at that, right at 5 inches too. 5, and then let's cut another one.
I cannot sign on to your website. It has locked me out for some reason. Can you help me with that?
What website? I don't have a website. I do not own a website. And if you guys try to go to tiffany'squiltinglife.com, don't. It's some kind of spam thing and it puts malware on your computer and it will steal all of your information. That is a, I just have YouTube, Facebook, and all that. So I don't have anything else. So if you ever go to Tiffany's Quilting Life, don't .com because it will eat your computer up or your cell phone or whatever it is you use. It is a bad website. Go figure that someone had to take Tiffany's Quilting Life and turn it into a spyware thing or malware or whatever. Nope, don't fall. So I'm just cutting these into 5-inch segments so that way I can use them to make my hanging tabs. So here's a bunch of them. And now I'm going to equally place these on these. Place that there. We're going to put 3 on this one. So what I do is I just take them and I loop them like this. So I put one side in like this and the other side next to it. So that way when the binding is on and it's flipped over and hung up, that you can slide a dowel rod directly through these.
Mama, I am out there mailing something fierce. I haven't been on. In 20 minutes, I need to be on.
All right, so I need a binding clips. Where are my clips, Scotty? I don't have all my stuff right here.
What clips? Your binding clips.
They're way
They're
over
in
here.
a little jar. I know what
Jar on shelf. I didn't realize I put everything in such random places. I still haven't, super organized my room. All right, we're going to come in 2 inches, and I'm going to put one side of this on like that at 2 inches, and then I'm going to put the other side right on the other side of it. And I'm going to clip that on. I'm going to do the same on the opposite side. And they're facing down right now because once the binding goes on, they get pushed up. So I'm going to come in on this side now, 2 inches, and put, is it on the inside or the outside of 2 inches? Now I have to make sure that it is on outside of 2 inches. So I put it down, lay this on here. I have the rolled hem under, so it's on the inside. Put the clip on here, roll it up like this. So that way the fresh edge is on the outside and the rolled hem is on the inside. So when these are hanging, it'll be like this. And I'm throwing things, so, But that's what I do in my room, is throw things. I thought more than 2 fell, but I guess not. Okay, so now I need to put one in the middle. And I'm going to secure all these down before I do anything else. All right, so half of 15 is 7.5. So 1 is going to go right here. And right there, so on 7.5. Wow, I did that math in my head really quick, huh? Is that what half of 15 is, 7.5?
Yes.
Wow.
Good.
How did I do that? I guess I've been doing it too long. All right, so I'm going to secure these ones down.
How do you decide between sleeve and loops? Is one better than the other?
The littler, smaller ones, I put loops on. The bigger ones, I put sleeves on. But some of the bigger ones, and I'll give you guys some examples, just because I have them right here. I haven't hung any of my quilts up yet, so. This is the one that I just hand sewed last night. Where did it go? So I learned a new stitch by hand. So I hand sewed this sleeve on. This sleeve required 2 pieces because I messed up on the size. So there's actually 2 pieces here. But this has a full length sleeve. And this is a 28-inch wall hanging. So that's this one. That one has a full sleeve. But this one is a lot smaller. So this is one that usually hangs up on my wall. It's smaller. And this has the tabs. So you just put a dowel or a curtain rod or whatever you want through it. And the cool part about this is, say you have curtains in your house and they have hooks, you know, the curtains are hooks. You can actually slide this in, put your curtain hook in, and then slide the next part in of the curtain, and then put this on, and then the next part. So this can weave in and out of your curtain rod if you wanted it to, because it has the hooks on it. But there are cases of bigger ones, which I'm going to grab now. This one usually hangs in my living room. Here's a bigger one. There are cases of these bigger ones that I do put the hooks on them because of the decorative purpose of it, because I think it looks cooler in the living room. This is one of my living room ones. It looks cooler with the tabs on them than it would with a sleeve hanging flat against the wall. I don't know. I just like it. So it depends. But usually the smaller ones get the hooks and the bigger ones get the sleeves, just in case they go to a quilt show, but some of them don't go to quilt shows. So hooks it is. So those are just some of my examples. So I do a little bit of both. I mix it up quite often. Oh, I'm right here. I might as well get rid of this line next to me.
How can they send you a message?
You can send me a message through email. If you want, you can email me if you have something you need to say. Or you can message me from the group or things like that. There's all that. And if you're trying to join the group, please, 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 please answer the questions to join. Everybody's getting denied because we don't know the difference between you and spam. And we just recently accepted a spam because I was pressing yes for the ones, and I accidentally hit a yes on the one that they didn't answer anything, and I accidentally hit it, and it joined the group and instantly put in t-shirt ads, like for some weird t-shirt website. I had to delete them because it was a spam, but it had a regular person's name and a regular person's photo and said it belonged to like 7 different groups that I'm a part of. So please answer the questions to join. All right, I'm going to hook these on here now. So I'm just going to do this, stitching them on. And I just backstitched twice only because these are a little bit thinner than normal. So these are like having ribbon. Oops. I just realized that this one, okay, it's right side up, wrong side down. There we go. It was flipped. But I like, when it comes to these, I like both tabs and sleeves. The sleeves I always hand sew though, and I'm not really liking hand sewing, but I do it if I have to. And I have to add a tag to a couple of things anyway, so I have to hand sew no matter what I do. So I had hand sew the tag on. So these are on here. I just need to bind. So these ones are ready. I'm just going to throw that down there. We're going to put the ones on this one now and make sure that we have them on the top, because if we put them on the wrong side, then I have to rip, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to make sure that's the top, and that's the direction you can read it. I think we're going to put, how many left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to put 3 on this one and 4 on that bigger one. All right, clips. So again, I'm going to come in 2.5, no, let's, yeah, 2.5 inches on one side of it and then on the other side of it for this one. I'll put my clip there. So I'm on the inside of 2.5 inches and then on the outside of 2.5 inches. And we'll do the same on the opposite side. I'm on the inside of
Do
it.
you machine bind your smaller projects?
I machine bind everything. I do not hand bind. The only time I'm ever going to hand bind is when I finally finish my hand sewn piece, hand pieced, and once I finally get to the finishing of the piecing, then I'll be hand quilting it and then I'll be hand binding it. That is going to be the only project I probably ever do all of it by hand. All right, so I'm going to use
The
it.
flag behind you come in a pattern.
The pattern is from the 4th of July. The wall hanging behind me is from the 4th of July last year. It was done on the 3rd. So look up Tiffany's Quilting Life, July 3rd. That's why I date most of my videos now, because then I can just give you a date. All right, so there's 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. Center is right here. Okay, look at that. This one is ready to be sewn. I'm going to make sure one more time this doesn't look very equal to me, but we're going to make sure. It doesn't look very evil. So it's 7.5 from that one.
Binding is evil.
And oh yeah, it's got to go on that side. Yep, I got evil binding. 7.5. Okay, let's go over right there and over right there. Now that should be equal. 1/4 and 7 3/4. Okay, that was the center right there. Sometimes you just have to use your ruler. All right, so I'm going to hook this one on. Oy. No, I have not gotten one of those plastic mat things for the floor yet to roll my chair around. So now I have to pick it up instead of roll it.
You keep having me buying stuff to the wall. So I don't want to hear it. That's on you. I would have gladly bought you one.
All right, so I'm just back stitching. There's one. Sorry guys, also again about that whole 2 video thing. I didn't mean to have to start another one. I should just went on from my phone, but I was so excited to try the cameras because the room is a different color and everything was like all mostly done. And yeah, I got to work out some kinks before I keep doing that. All right, so there is another one that has the hooks on it with the black hooks. All right. Okay, these are already hooked. I'm going to throw those on that side so that I know which ones I didn't do for hooks and stuff. Now, I did make sure that this direction is the same as this direction. So my backing fabric is a directional fabric. I made sure that the top was the top no matter which side it hung on. So we're going to do this one now. Just going to, I don't want to keep rolling my chair. All right, we need 2 more of these. And we're going to put 4 now on here. I'm going to start, I always pretty much start off at 2 and 2.5 inches where I fold it over. Those are usually my first 2. That way the hanging hook is not at the corner of the binding. I don't like it when it comes out in the corner of the binding. All right, we'll come to this side.
Did you make your pressing table?
My pressing table? I don't have a pressing table. I made my ironing board. We made the ironing board.
I don't know how measure for a corner triangle on a on-point block. The block is 5 inches square, for example, on point, and I want to put triangles on the corners. I can't find the video.
Do I have any on-point quilts? I have a couple of them. I can't think of them at this time. If I were you, I would just search quilts on point. If you go into Google and actually search in Google for the there's an actual list that you can get on Google. It comes up under photos, and it's actually a photo of the on point measurements for any quilt, for any size. It has all the sizes. There's a chart for the halves and the chart for the solid numbers. So just Google the on point mathematical chart. All right, we're going to assume that these are going to be all about that right there. So we're going to have one right here. Look at how I do this. This is my math right here. So I'm going to come to right here at 7.5. I'm going to put this one on here. Roll it up.
Oh, Shirley loves the little bird needle threader she got from us.
Oh, awesome. Yes, I love the needle threader. And then this one is going to go at 7.5 away from the first one. Just like this. And like this. And then that should be 7.5. Look at that. So great when it works out perfectly. All right. Here we go. Let's put this one on. Come on, right there. This one has 4, so I have to do it 4 times. And one more. Ta-da! So now the hooks are on this one as well. Just like that. Okay. These are getting black binding. This one has a sleeve, so it really doesn't matter which side I want it on this side, my sleeve. I just realized there's a nice lovely thread right there. So I did hem the edges of my sleeve, so that way when it goes in and out, it's not a raw edge. I do need to press it. So Scott, can I have an iron plugged in and up here, please, for me? It's behind you. And the need me an ironing board.
You're supposed to let the Iron Man iron.
And we're still gonna hook this one on here.
Patty's on here. She wants to see her shirt in action. She says, let the Iron Man iron.
Yeah.
Actually, water.
All right, we're gonna turn that iron on. I'm pressing this exactly in half, and I think I'm gonna prep the other one too.
What size do you cut your binding?
My binding is gonna be 2.5 inches, except for this quilt. This one's 2 1/4, because this one already had pre-binding to go with it. All right, we need this guy right here, and I need to see how big it is so that I can cut my piece. This sleeve is cut 8.5 inches. And it's 8.5 inches. And I literally just do this. I see where I want it to be. And then I cut it with scissors And I'm hemming the edges anyway, so need that. So it's 8.5 inches wide, by the way. That's how I do my hanging sleeves. And that's going to hem that much. So let's cut the selvage off of this end and then do the hem. I still have to fold it in half anyway. And
What kind of iron do you use? Need a new one.
right now it's a Panasonic Frankenstein. That's what it is. It's a Panasonic NI-WL607, but it has Frankenstein parts because it has Frankenstein parts. Okay, and the selvage is off. So now I just need to hem that and press this. Look at me, just multitasking today, guys. Seriously. All right, I just fold the edge to edge. And I literally make a nice straight edge because that edge is going to be what I'm hand stitching down. But the top part is actually being sewn into the binding. It's permanent. So.
What's the iron you normally use?
The normal iron is a reliable vapor generator. My irons are still in it somewhere. They're somewhere.
You just need to put away all the stuff on top of it.
Yeah. All right, let's put this hem foot back on and hem the edges of this. Oh yeah, that's right side out. Okay, hemming foot back on. That's the cool part about this Juki is I throw things. Ugh.
Oh, did you say one time your favorite iron was a shark?
Our favorite iron, yes, is a shark. We had Squeak, and Squeak was the ultimate iron, perfect iron for Scott.
Your favorite. That was my favorite.
I don't want to hem this with black. I quilted everything with.
It was my favorite.
What color thread is that? Baby blue. Man, oh man, oh man. Let's use black because I'm. No, I'm not. Can I have can you go cut off the thread on the long arm, please?
What kind of what?
The color thread that's on the top of the long arm, that's on the machine. Can you cut that off and bring it to me, please? We're going to have to put that one on hold because I need that thread that's on the long arm. And I'll need a bobbin to wind for it since I'm going to be binding with it.
Do you remember Squeak's model?
I do not remember Squeak's model number, but it was red. Squeak was the red color shark iron.
Doesn't Eric have one?
Eric has one from Treasure Heart Creations. If you guys know Treasure Heart Creations, he has Squeak's cousin, Squawk.
What's the best mini iron?
The best mini iron? I wouldn't know. I don't own one and haven't owned a well, I have a Rowenta. I can't say that. I have a Rowenta mini iron that I never use because the handle is broke. But I've used it a few times. It was like hurting my fingers. So I need to fix that and then I'll be using it.
You want me to just bring the roll?
Yep. Just
that whole roll?
cut it off and bring me the whole thing. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna do this quilt first because I'm swapping out thread color. It's called Cloud, it's blue, it's on the long arm. Nope, I have black right here. All right. Just waiting on thread, my friends. All right. See, I long arm quilt with glide thread but I also use it to bind. If I quilted in that color and it matches everything, I actually will bind in that color too. So we're going to go ahead and create a bobbin and go ahead and just go with it on this one. This is the color Cloud. It's going to take a minute. It's skinnier thread. It's a 40 weight. So it fills the bobbin pretty darn good. You done? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, and I'm going to pull this through. And yes, I just tied my thread and pulled it through instead of having to re-thread the machine. So all I have to do is re-thread the needle only.
Are you preferring the opposite side of the room?
I like it over here, yes. My machine, to me, doesn't sound as loud because it's not against a wall anymore. I think when it was next to the wall is why it was a lot louder, because it was, you know, echoing off the wall, like the sound was bouncing back, which is what sound does. It bounces off things. So I think that that's why, to me, it sounds a lot lighter now, softer, quieter. That's the word I'm looking for. All right, let's hem this. If I can roll that under there just right.
Maybe earlier, like the shelves too. Wooden shelves.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Do you like your new sewing room? Was it worth all the work?
Yes, it was worth all the work.
Well, we were forced to do
We
the
were
work.
forced to do the work, though. Termites forced this, but they forced our hand at updating our house. They forced our hand at spending thousands and thousands of dollars. But it's worth it because it looks nice now, and we have no more termites. Okay. Why, oh why is this not being nice today? Because this thread breaks on the long arm too. I think this one's spun wrong or something. I was having thread breaks on the long arm with this color too. It's always this color, Cloud.
We get that from the quilt shop, right?
There we go.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Do what?
We buy it at our local quilt shop.
What do you buy?
The glide thread. We buy glide thread at the local quilt shop. All right, so I have 2 hemmed edges. Now let's make sure before I iron it in half that it's the size I want it to be, and I'm just gonna have to stand because I can't keep rolling that chair. It actually hurts my legs.
What if I put one of those mitts in there, you know, the small black one?
It won't, it'll squish down into the floor too much.
Kind of plasticky.
All right. That's
Pretty nice.
No, it's not gonna work. It's too plasticky.
What about one of your old cuts? Plasticky.
It won't work, and I'll only be able to roll here to here.
For tonight.
Nah, I'll be fine. I'll just stand when I need to stand and sit when I sit. Sorry, I had a thread tangle right here. Might as well cut it out now before I permanently sew this in there. I just vacuumed in here today too. All right.
You got a lot off.
And I got so much stuff off the floor, but that's because I made a batting mess. All right, let's fold this now exactly in half. And then I'm going to sew it in to the back of the quilt. So it was an 8.5-inch strip. Just in case you guys are curious, that's the size strip I usually use. Unless I'm doing a really heavy quilt for the big shows, then I use a 9.5-inch strip.
You need that iron closer?
Nope.
A little bit closer.
Nope. That's perfect. Okay, so this folded edge is the edge that I will be hand sewing. All right, it really doesn't matter. It goes on that side right here. We're gonna center it on here.
Can you put the tag in that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna get a tag. I'm just gonna do a regular tag and then embroider on it and then iron it on the back. Not right now. No, I'll do it later. All right, 1.5 inches from that edge, 1.5 from that edge. This is where I want it to stay. So I'm gonna go ahead and clip it in place, and while I have this thread color on, I might as well work on this quilt first. We have to make the binding still too. Oh, we gotta change the foot out too. I am all over the place today, right? Let me tell you. This is what a normal day looks like, though. I end up all over the place. I don't just do one thing at a time. I do 5 things at a time, and I'm constantly switching and swapping. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and with a 1/4 inch seam, almost scant 1/4 inch seam, I'm going to sew this sleeve on here with a 2.5 stitch length. That doesn't need to be very tight because I'm going to be stitching over it again with the binding, but this is just tacking it down for now. And when I hand stitch this, I take this second side right here, this back side, and that gets hand stitched down. So that back side gets hand stitched down. And then this whole thing will get hand stitched down across it. So this back piece will get hand stitched down, and then the whole thing. That way it's not running through 2. You can have it run through 2 if you want, but I just stick it down so it always runs through the sleeve and it doesn't get the back of the quilt itself dirty. All right, so let's make the binding for that guy now because we're right here. Can you get it? It fell on the floor. Please.
Can you show them a close?
This one? Here is as close as I'm going to get it. It's just spirals. I didn't do my best work on it. In fact, it's kind of sloppy, but I mean, I did do 5 quilts, so I was like, you know, in a mood. And then the back. That's the back. All right. All that black stuff too is going to be needed.
Do you need it this second? Yes?
No.
No? Okay then.
All right, here we go. Let's hook these together end to end. I think I only needed 4, but I cut a bunch off. And we're going to hook them right side up. Right side down. I'm going to hook them on the diagonal. Flip. And so, see, I didn't pre-make the binding. I should have done that too, but figured I could just do it all. Yeah, this one is getting entered into a quilt show. The first quilt show it's getting entered into is the Sewing Machines Plus virtual Quilt Fest, which I did last year.
Okay, here's everything to tell.
I will have more details on that later. Right now, I just know that's what I'm entering because it's coming up next month. And I have to get it done like ASAP because if I don't, then it doesn't get entered. All right, last piece because this should be plenty to go all the way around. It's not a very big quilt. All right, this can go over there. Instead of knocking all that down, it can go over there too. Trim off the edges. Okay, so I'm just trimming away a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Last one. And then I keep all these cut-offs from 2.5 inch pieces down under my desk in a thing. We're gonna go ahead now and press it. Right side or wrong sides together all the way down.
Here's a good one for you. Karen says she's new to the live stream, but mom and her watch you all the time. Mom has known her whole life. She's 83.
Oh,
And
wow.
they love watching you because you're down to earth and they still learn something new.
Awesome. Thank you for watching.
Her and her mom at
You and
83
your
watching.
mama. I'm always learning something new too from myself. What not to do. Number 1, what not to do. Make sure you're organized first. Don't come in to it all a disaster. Should hang that on the wall. Tangled. Tangled. Untangle. There we go.
How wide do you make your binding?
My binding is 2.5 inches. Some is 2 1/4. Like this other quilt that's on the table right here, that one's 2 1/4 because that's the way the pattern had it with the kit that it came with in my open gate box.
Hey, mommy.
Hi, Mom. All right, almost done. And then we can bind quilt number 1 real quick because it goes quick. It goes super quick, actually. Well, for me at least. I don't mean to be quick about it, but it just happens that way.
You're quick with everything. You're not a slow worker.
Yeah, I don't work slow. I was probably meant for factory work or something. All right, let's get this guy bound. All right, I'm gonna put it right here on the side. I always put my binding on the back and then flip it to the front. That is how I do my binding. All right, let's find the end. Also gonna make sure that there's no seam landing at the edge. I hate when the seams land at the miter. All right, that one will not land in the mitered corner. I'm gonna go ahead and put my foot at 1/4 inch. I'm gonna leave a tail get to it. I'm gonna change my stitch length. I'm telling you guys, I do this pretty quickly. Like, I have plenty of videos where I show you up close on binding. So I just do my thing and get it done. No, I'm doing an after tag with hand sewing. Nope, I'm not putting a corner tag or anything on this one. Nope. It's getting an after tag. I'm really quick with this, my friends.
You have one of those pink silicone iron pads that lasts for binding. It works pretty good for binding.
Yes, I do have a binding tool. Yeah, I do have it. Yes, the pink silicone binding thing. Yeah, I got it at the QuiltCon when I went to QuiltCon with Eric. Eric got it for me. I like it, yes. I just don't use it like I should because I'm always making videos, and the videos I'm quicker when I'm not, you know. But it does work. It works good, and it's definitely meant for lighter irons.
You bind your show quilts the same as others?
Yes, I bind show quilts just the same. I put my binding on the back and then roll it to the front. I'm exactly the same both ways.
Is a turquoise quilt your own personal pattern?
This is it's a Jacob's Ladder Tiffanyized.
Tiffanyized. So
yes, it's my own thing. It's me being creative.
Do you ever make rounded corners?
No, I do not do rounded corners. I actually don't like the look of rounded corner quilts. I like a perfect square cornered quilt. I don't like the round. I don't know why. Nothing against people who like it. I just don't. That's not something I'm into. I don't even like scalloped borders. But when I finally do the double wedding ring, it's going to have scalloped borders. So it's going to have scalloped binding to go with those scalloped borders. I know how to do it. I just don't want to. How about that? Oh, because there's no way around it. A double wedding ring is a curved quilt. It ends with curves. Scott was saying, "Why? If I don't like it, why do it?" But because of the double wedding ring, it ends with curves. The putting it together. It's the if you guys know a double wedding ring, you'll know what I'm talking about. It ends with curves, so you have to finish it with curves, or you can top stitch it down onto a straight border or cut it off, but I think that would look weird, honestly. Oh yeah, even that was too many pieces. Look at that. And the cool part is I got all these binding cuts out of what was left over from the backing fabric. Because I used more backing fabric than I needed for everything so that I can use it all on binding. So I had plenty of fabric. All right, so I'm going to sew this one just a little bit.
Tiffany's.
Yeah. I actually haven't even named this quilt. All right, so let me find a ruler. There it is, right there. We're going to go ahead and cut this away.
Can you not just make the backing bigger than just use it for binding?
I could have trimmed this and made, trimmed it an inch away and then folded it over, but I've lost scissors now.
You want me to get you a pair?
They were right here.
I can get you a pair.
Are they on the floor?
Not over here. When are you making a double wedding ring?
Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. Hopefully.
And, I've seen double wedding rings that have straight sides.
So have I. Yep, I've seen them.
How did you lose the scissors?
I have no idea. They're black handled.
I know, I saw you using them.
Oh, there they are. They're hiding under here. All right, there's that. We're gonna go ahead and cut this.
Thumper stole them, right?
Yep, Thumper stole them. That's what Thumper does. This is a 2.5 inch binding, so I'm just using my 2.5 inch ruler. Just like that. Oh, well,
All the
that's
fans knew where they were.
not very straight.
They
They
were paying attention.
probably saw them under there. All right, I'm gonna
They're
go
paying
ahead.
attention.
You know, we're just gonna go like this. Hey, the scissors are in their thingamabobber, and the other ones I'm gonna place away from me so that I could see them right there. All right, we'll just put these two together. I did not save myself much room for error here, guys. All right, let's put this one on top of it. Line it up. Line it up right there and right there. And smush it, smush it. Nice and flat. Come on. Right there. There you go. Stay.
What fabric or colors are you going to use in your double wedding ring?
Purples. Purple batiks. Purple. Lots of purple. The double wedding ring is going to be purple. Well, actually, the first one is going to be super colorful. The second one is going to be purple. I'm going to be making two of them. One for a kid and one for myself, just because. Did I do that right? Oh, look at that. Yay. Wow, I gave myself no room for that. And it still landed good, so that's good.
Double wedding ring pattern hard to make?
I have no idea. I've never made one. So I don't know if it's hard or not. There. Just going to go ahead and finger press this to one side. And sew this on here. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's hard. I have 2 different template sets, and that's why I said I was going to do 2, because I'm thinking about trying both template sets, not just one. All right, top side stitched. Now to top stitch. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I do this side first, because I want to make sure that I'm holding my sleeve down nice and tight. Okay. There we go. I'm just going to top stitch now. And this is a batik, so it presses really nicely. I mean, folds over really nicely. Whatever. Everything is really nice with batiks. It's always crisp and clean and so on and so forth. All right, so I'm just going to make sure my sleeve is out of the way completely. There we go. I'm going to hold it down the whole way. This is probably the slowest side I'll be on, just so that that sleeve is out of the way. Yep, the front is batiks except for the white. The white is not a white batik. I didn't get a white batik. I just used white. Okay, this is not going to work right
Do you ever use gloves when sewing quilts?
here. No, I do not use gloves at all.
Every once in a while, you have that one sewer's glove. You do wear that.
Oh, I wear gloves for like arthritis, though, when I'm long arm quilting.
No, the
Sometimes.
sewer's glove that you have
Yeah,
to
those
cover.
are for free motion quilting. I don't use those anymore.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I do if I free motion quilt little projects, but no, I don't use them on the regular anymore. They are not a regular used item anymore. But I used to use gloves. All right, now I can zoom like normal. And I'm just sewing 1/8 of an inch away from the edge of the front of the binding. And there's a lot of threads hanging out on this side. Gotta snip them. I'm just doing my 45-degree mitered corners. Yes. It was one of those things. I had an epiphany. Tiffany had an epiphany while she was working on this thing and said, hey, let's try this. And that's what I was doing. And I did it. I literally had the top of the Jacob's Ladder part built, and then I had it laid here, and I took all 3 of these borders and laid them out around it to make sure it was going to work. And I used every single piece, which was actually cool. I had plenty of pieces to use the whole entire amount of half square triangles and leftovers that I had. It was a lot of piecing that day because I had to piece all these pieces together and not get them out of order because I made them in rows, you know. My long arm is a King Quilter Elite 2 Special Edition. That just means it has a bigger screen. What'd you say? Oh, Scott put a link in the chat. And remember, if you're watching this as a replay, all those explanation to type the code in does not work after the live, but you can still click on the links that were inserted during the live. Okay, last side, and then we'll move on to the next quilt and switch to a different color thread because that's everything else get black thread. We're putting more of my hair into this. Find my starting point. Make sure everything is nice and flat. It is. Stitch right up to my previous stitching and back stitch. And quilt numero uno is together. It has a sleeve that just needs to be hand stitched down now so that you can run the thing through it. So the binding is on and it blends with the border, so that makes it perfect. It blends with the back. And I do this often where I use the backing fabric as binding without rolling over. I just make binding so that it has that plenty of it because I don't always make plenty of backing fabric for things. Oh, there's that. Number 1 done. Number 2 is this. So let's switch thread out and we're going to go ahead and attach this on here and make some binding.
What size is it?
That quilt is, I think it's 29 inches or 28 and a half inches square. Whoop, come on. It is 28 and a half. 28 and a half. So it's 28 and a half inches square. Let's just
Hang it up there.
hang it up here for now. It's not going to hang perfectly because I don't have all my clips up here. There we go. It's hung up. All right. Binding for this. Change out thread. Let's clip that thread. Put the black back on. Scotty put a link if you guys for Sewing Machines Plus if you want to look at anything there.
They're asking about other machines.
Oh.
Is Jerome a good machine?
A Janome? I don't use a Janome. I've never owned a Janome, so I have no idea anything about those machines.
Well, that's why I put Sewing Machines Plus. I can look up stuff.
Yeah, you guys can look it up on my affiliate website if you would like. All right. Let's throw all this thread away. Thread the top. I have lots of black bobbins, so I don't have to worry about that. Just have to switch them if I run out. There we go. So this one is 2 1/4 inch binding that we're going to be doing here. Change that back down. Just going to go ahead, put them right sides together, sew corner to corner. And this is just 3 strips, should go all the way across, or all the way around, I mean, not across this whole thing. Okay, let's turn the iron back on. Let's trim this away, 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then get rid of the dog ears. Oops. Get rid of the dog ears, which are just the little tips of fabric. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, press that seam, and press this seam, and then we're going to fold the whole thing in half. And then we'll line up the sleeve on this one. And this one's getting a sleeve because I am practicing that whole stitch that I'm learning. It's like a whip stitch, or not whip stitch, like a I don't know, it looks like an applique stitch, honestly. Like a blanket stitch. That's what I'm learning. Teaching myself hand stitching stuff. Just because I know I'm going to be doing binding on a quilt as soon as I get the quilt made. It's still taking some time, but I'm almost there. I think I'm at 8 rows of 12 for that quilt. So this binding is going to be a lot tighter and smaller because it's a 1/4 inch smaller than the last. And you can tell the difference. So if you're not used to rolling over binding, if you do by machine or by hand, that's really tight, I would stick with the 2.5 inch binding and not 2 1/4. Because 2 1/4 is a lot tighter. And if you use a thicker batting like a polyester, just know that your binding is also going to show. Yes, it's also going to tell the difference how it wraps around your binding. If it's thicker around the edges, the smaller the binding, it's harder to get around the thicker edges of a quilt. All right, center and clip this. I want it about 1.5. 1.5. I'm really good at this 1.5 thing. Okay.
What's the difference between sewing machine and serger?
A serger is an overlocker serger type deal that stitches 4 threads at the same time and creates a really it's what your clothing is stitched with. So this is overlocked when you have folded edges on your clothing, but you can see that back and forth stitch, and then the seams on the inside of your clothing are serged. It's like a fray thing. It's a, fraying so that your clothes don't fray on you. They're serged. Okay. We're going to go ahead and attach the sleeve first.
Jelly rolls can be used for binding?
Yes, you can use jelly roll strips for binding. I've actually made a whole quilt with jelly rolls. I made a quilt with jelly rolls, and I had jelly roll strips left, and I used them for binding. And so it actually worked out perfect. All right, so that is on there. Let's go ahead now and get the binding on here. I'm going to start on this side. Actually, I'm going to start on this side. Come down and around. I put this on the right side, right? Yep, I did. Good. Good. Making sure that the opening is on the outside. And I don't want a seam at the end. Go ahead. Make myself a really long tail. And sew with a 1/4 inch all the way around. I did use 80/20 in this quilt, so it's a little bit thicker around the edges, but I wanted that puffy look to it, so that's why I used 80/20 when I quilted it. Go ahead, do this corner. If you hear Scott meowing, it's because he's playing with Thumper.
Yeah, he's meowing at me too.
Oh, it's funny. And I ended with a seam in a corner. I don't like when that happens, but I'm not going to rip it out just to move it. So I just go ahead and do it anyway. And I need a seam ripper. Just need to take out one stitch. Right there. I'm just going to work with the seam being in the 45-degree miter. It happens. If you want to prevent it all the way, just clip your binding on all the way around before you sew it. That way you can make sure that no seam lands in the corner. My wait time is about 4 weeks. For long arm quilting, for those that are wondering why I just randomly said that. I always forget to repeat the question Scott answers or asks me from you guys. Bad habits. He's really meowing up a storm. He's in a mood. The cat wants attention today. It's like, you guys are ignoring me. Okay, stop right there. Okay, let's cut this off. About right there. Okay, and I'm gonna fold this one over here. And we're going 2 1/4 this time. I'm gonna smooth it out too. 2 1/4 right there. Smooth that side out. Cut it right. Thumper is a snowshoe. So if you Google snowshoe, that is what Thumper is. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead now and put these right sides together on the diagonal. I never leave myself much room to crinkle the quilt up to do this. I just kind of like do it all willy-nilly like. There. Come on. Perfect. Just cut a 1/4 inch seam away manually with the scissors instead of using the rotary cutter. Finger press it to one side. And then sew it the rest of the way on. All right, we're going to roll it to the other side and sew it on. But first we're going to make sure that the sleeve is down. I'm going to go ahead and come to this side so that I can make sure that the sleeve stays down the whole time. This is so tight when you do 2 1/4. What do you mean put a clip in where I have it pinched?
Put a clip in there where you have it pinched.
Oh, that's fine. I'm fine. I got it. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's nice and down, nice and tight. Just know that 2 1/4 inch binding is a lot tighter with 80/20 as the batting. Whew. I'm going to show you guys the difference between a 2 1/2 inch binding and a 2 1/4 inch binding. And the other one is 100% cotton. This one that's hanging up had 100% cotton batting. This one has 80/20, and it's a fluffy 80/20. Boy, come on. This is so tight. Oh, it's so messed up. Right there. Come on. Just seam ripping out where it got messed up. All right. There. Right to where it ended. I'm just folding up my miter, this corner. Come on, stay. Whew. This thing barely has any room. Oh, Thumper's getting a new toothbrush and toothpaste this week because he has horrid breath.
Good teeth clean from tomorrow.
Yeah,
I
his
don't know
breath-
it yet.
his breath makes me gag, so he needs a toothbrush and toothpaste for a cat. His teeth are rotten anyway. The dentist, their thing is, let's pull the cat's teeth out. Well, he needs his teeth to eat, I think. So we're just gonna brush them. We did have dental water for him, but I think after being on it for like 2.5 years, it's not doing anything anymore. So we're switching to a toothbrush and toothpaste for cats. Tuna flavored. Okay, here we go. Come on, right there, stay. It's always these little quilts that these little bindings, my 45-degree miter is not at all close to perfect, like whatsoever.
Do you prefer 80/20 or 100% cotton?
I like 80/20 the best because I like the loft.
You also use polyester.
But I also like for custom quilting and super fluffy quilts, I love using polyester, like a 3 or 6 ounce polyester, because it just poofs. I love it. I love it. It creates a quilumpeter, a comforter and a quilt all in one is what it comes out as when you use a 6 ounce polyester.
We don't know. We never done it.
I brushed his teeth before, just not with toothpaste. Ages ago, and he was perfectly fine. So he should do pretty good. I mean, he just sits in the sink when I bathe him. He just sits there for me now. He used to squirm a little bit, but now he just sits and says, "Okay, wash me." Sure. It should be fine. Whew. Ay, ay, come on. What? What?
What's the mini quilt name that you?
I haven't named it yet. I have not named it. It's a Jacob's Ladder Tiffany eyes. I made the quilt my own by changing up how borders go on it. So it doesn't really have a name yet. I usually name the quilts by the time I'm, binding them, but this time I didn't have a name. All right, I'm going to show you guys the difference between 2 1/4 inch binding and 2 1/2. Look at how tight that is. My mitered corners are so horrible. They're so horrible because there's so much, I mean, this one's okay, but the rest of them are not. But you can see how tight it is on both sides, right? We're going to pull this guy back down again real quick. Tiffany's Epiphany. That actually works. Now, look at what 2 1/2 inch binding does. Do you see how thick that is on the front side as opposed to 2 1/4? Look at the difference.
I love the crinkle look after washing quilts. What type of batting is good for that?
Look at how tiny that is. Like literally, it's barely any room. So if you have arthritis in your hands like me and it's really hard for you to roll things over, I highly suggest always using 2 1/2 inch binding because 2 1/4 is tight. I mean, you could see, look at that. It's crazy, crazy difference.
What batting is good for the crinkling after washing?
Crinkling after washing happens if your fabric is cotton and it shrinks. That's actually what crinkles it. So cotton batting would also shrink. If you want crinkly quilt. If you want a puffy crinkly quilt, then use cotton quilting cotton with a 80/20 or a polyester batting. Anyway, so there's number 2. Let's hang him up right here for now. Hanging so many things up. And the rest of these are all getting black. So let's turn this on. Just go ahead and make the rest of that black binding and get all these on. All right, let's put those right here on the chair. Bring this to me. Bring all this binding over here. Here we go. We're going to go ahead now and make, this is all just leftover fabric, so they're small pieces, big pieces. They're just however long, and they're all going right sides together. They're 2 1/2 inch, all different lengths. Sorry, I have the hiccups now all of a sudden randomly. Made enchiladas yesterday for dinner. Yesterday I had enchiladas, and today I had enchilada leftovers, and now I have like very bad acid. It's the only bad thing about that for me. They're what?
I needed to hear it. Binding, like life went over.
Yeah, yeah. Arthritic fingers is it's really tough for the binding, so you definitely want to go bigger, the bigger number. So if you get a kit that the kit comes with 2 1/4 inch binding, go on the website and try to find that matching and get some more fabric for it, buy the matching fabric, and because they only give you enough for that specific cut size, which kind of sucks. They should make it for everybody with, more than one cut size, but a lot of people do 2 1/4. They don't realize some of us have really bad arthritic fingers, and 2 1/2 inch is better. That's why I was saying, trying to do a 2 1/4 inch binding over a fluffy like polyester or 80/20, which you just saw, is really hard. The last of these 3 quilts are all cotton, right? Yeah. Cotton, 80/20. So there's 80/20 in this one, in the big one. But it's getting a 2 1/2 inch binding, so I have plenty of finger room. So I'm just hooking these all together, end to end to end. Take a drink of water too while I'm at it. If I don't finish these today, I'll finish them later or tomorrow, because we're getting close on time, I think. Yeah, my Missouri Star clock. My Missouri Star clock is right there, so it says it's getting close to being 7. I have a clock in here, so I can keep track of how long I'm in here at a time, or else I'm in here for hours. I don't know if you guys realize that when you're in your sewing spaces too, that you just sit down and start going, and you're like 12 hours later, did I eat? Did I get up and go to the bathroom? Did I get up and do anything other than sit here and sew? Because that happens to me. So you're not the only one. Especially when I'm filming. Woo. When I'm filming something, I just go for it and continually just sitting here and move the camera and sew, and I go hours and don't even realize it. Scott has to come in here and say, it's lunchtime. It's break time. It's nap time.
Can you use 100% cotton batting for fatigues?
Yeah.
With fatigues?
Yes. I highly suggest 100% cotton batting with boutiques because it helps the boutique stay laying flat. And they usually lay flat on their own anyway. They press really nice, so they lay really good with cotton batting. Nice flat and square quilt when you're done.
Does wider binding wear better?
Does what?
Wider binding wear better.
I have no idea its wearness because I don't really wash my quilts as much as I should, but the wider binding is the same wear. I don't know which ones I have that aren't. It's usually my wall hangings that end up with a 2 1/4 on them. Everything else is always 2 1/2. So I think it's good. My binding has stayed pretty good on my quilts.
What do you suggest for a starter quilt?
A starter quilt, first time ever making a quilt, I would suggest doing a 4-patch or a 9-patch or something, or a disappearing 4-patch or disappearing 9-patch, just to get learning. If you're starting, you need to learn your machine. You need to learn your 1/4-inch seam, sewing straight, all that goodness. You need to learn that. And the best thing for learning all that is to not do complicated quilts as your first quilt. All right, let's get all these apart and then press. There's a lot of seams here. They are joined together on the diagonal. So let's snip this apart. I put one in, so you put it under the machine, and then you put the other one on as an L shape, and then you sew from this corner down to that corner. So you're sewing on the diagonal. You can do binding sewn on a 1/4-inch square seam. Just know you need to press your seams open if you do it that way, but I don't suggest it. I've done it before, and I'll do it on some things, like if I have a pieced border, or pieced binding. But with straight strips, I always connect them on the diagonal, on the 45. I'm gonna just guess here that that's a 1/4 inch because I cannot see for the life of me. Guess. Get to the next one. The next one. The next one. Just guess. Not see my stitches whatsoever.
How do you press the diagonal seams?
I press them to one side. I never press them open. Unfortunately, I just feel it doesn't need to be because it's spread. When you press it to one side, it spreads that seam out between the two sides anyway. So pressing it open or pressing it to one side or the other doesn't really matter, honestly. I don't press much open though, unless I absolutely have to. I cannot see. I almost cut that one at 1/8 of an inch. Yikes. Okay. Where I'm at, right here. And I have lots and lots of videos on bindings, so if you can't see up close, in a lot of videos I show you up close. But today I already had camera issues, so I don't feel like moving any more stuff to show up close. But just know I do show it in other videos.
What would you suggest for a first quilt top?
For a first quilt top to make, I would say try a pattern, honestly. Follow directions. But if you're making 4 patch blocks as your first blocks, then why not turn those into a quilt top? Yeah. Getting used to your machine, you might as well do something with the blocks you're making.
Paper piecing pressed open?
No, I don't press paper piecing open. Paper piecing is pressed to one side. It's hard to press it open unless you're paper piecing off the paper, like doing it with what's the word for it? There's a word for it. If you're doing the paper piecing with freezer paper and you're folding it over and then sewing along the edge of the paper and then opening the paper up, then you can press your seams open. But on a normal basis with paper piecing, it's impossible to press them open because you'd have to rip the paper to get it open. I guess I'm gonna press all these first because there's so many of them. In that third drawer, Scotty, that fourth drawer down behind you,
Yeah.
can you grab out the pink binding thing? We'll show them. It's literally right there. Just open the drawer and grab it. It's on the bottom.
In the box?
No, below the box, the pink thing.
Oh, this? I thought you meant the binding wheel.
No, that thing. Just need that. Thank you. You don't have to get them all.
Jim asked, does anyone still use the tomato strawberry pin cushion?
I have a few. Tomato pin cushions. I have a few of them. They're just decoration now. They have pins in them though. All right, so we're gonna try to show you
Are you
guys.
pressing Sculliver's seams open?
Nope. Sculliver's seams are being pressed open when the papers are being combined. All right, so I'm just gonna fold this in half. Bring it on here. This is this Quilted Hearts Binding Ease. Is it Binding Ease or Binding something or other? Is what it's called. Gotta get it.
The paper, yes, binding ease.
Yep, it's the Quilted Heart Binding Ease, and you can find it at Fat Quarter Shop. They sell it. And you just stick your iron on there. And Scott just put a link in for Fat Quarter Shop, and then you just pull the binding through. So you hold one side for pulling. Don't pull too hard because you're going to stretch it. And then you just line the binding up on the other end, same as you would do any other time. Do realize that it is hot on the opposite end when you pull out. And you just pull it through. And you leave your iron sit on there. It's a silicone pad, so it's not burning anything. So I do use this thing. I just don't usually use it on camera, which I'm showing you now. I've used it a few times on camera for you guys, but you still have to center it on the other side, you know, lining it up. Instead, you're just pulling it through. So it's just as good as doing it by hand. Just know that it's really hot when you pull it out. So don't burn yourself. Yeah, you have to have a light iron. I realize that because I love my reliable iron, and that thing is heavy, and that doesn't work for this. You have to have a lightweight iron for this tool. You cannot have a heavy iron. So you need like a one of those little tiny irons or something, those little portable irons, or one of these, this Panasonic iron, or like a Proctor Select. Those are very light irons. Or I'm trying to think of the other one. General Electric irons are really, really lightweight. But yeah, you cannot use a heavy one.
What size are your sleeves? Do you use different sizes according to the size of your quilt?
Yes, a main folded sleeve that goes on the back of any giant quilt, I cut at 9.5-inch strip for that. And then I sew it in. All right, the iron needs to be heated back up. So this is how this thing works, by the way. But
when you lay out your binding at the corners, why do you not go all the way to the end?
When I lay my binding out at the corners, why don't I go all the way to the end of what?
I don't know.
It's all the way at the end. They fold end to end. End to end. Side to side. I don't know what you mean. It's folded directly in half. It matches up at the ends. And when I connect them, I go from corner to corner. All right, let's put this back on here and continue. Whew, that's hot. Scott is holding up the paper for it. It's called Binding Ease by Quilted Hearts.
Where? At Quarter Shop?
And you can find it at Fat Quarter Shop.
There's a link in?
Where Scott has put a link to Fat Quarter Shop. You just have to type it in the search bar. Using my links does not cost you any money either. Just know that. It's a little bit of support for me if you guys purchase from going there during the...
You have a yellow quilt that made a video out of for a first timer? You know what that video was?
I have no idea. I've made so many quilts over the years. Yeah, I have so many quilts. I have so many videos. There's over 950 videos on my YouTube channel. There's about 920 of them are visible to you guys. So
Where else would you find this thing? They couldn't find it on Fat Quarter Shop.
it should be a Fat Quarter Shop. They sold it for, it was on there all last year too. You might have to scroll to like the second page because I know it wasn't on the first page when I typed in Quilted Heart Binding Ease. You might just have to type in Binding Ease. But
your favorite pattern?
my favorite pattern, I don't know. I like everything I do. So I don't really know if I have a favorite. I definitely like doing stuff with stars. I like all my patterns to have stars. Anything with stars, those are my favorites. I think the Mariner's Compass was probably my favorite, but it's also one of those that's very hard to do. No, I'm gonna finish after this because I'm burning my fingers and I'm getting tired. It's also on a silicone mat, which is totally different.
Have you ever done a storm at sea?
I'm actually working on snails at sea, is one of my side projects. So I haven't done storm at sea, but I am working on snails at sea.
Maybe they're talking about the Weave It quilt.
The Weave It quilt is yellow, and that's very beginner friendly. If you just type in Weave It, it'll come right up. You don't have to type. You don't even have to type Tiffany's Quilting Life.
Pattern.
Yeah.
Weave It free pattern or something like
Yeah, it says Weave It free pattern for beginners or something like that. But it's a very popular video. It has like almost 200,000 views on it or something. So
Do you do patterns more than once, or do you like doing new things?
I do patterns more than once, and I also like doing new things. I'm all over the place. I don't have any specific set anything. I'm just all over the place. Oh, that's hot.
Yep, Weave It. That's the one that is.
Yep, Weave It is very, very beginner friendly. It uses 2 charm packs and makes a 50 by 50 quilt, or 51 by 51. I don't know. It's in that range. All right, here we go. Lastly, there we go.
Where are your finger guards?
Finger guards aren't going to help with the pull through of this. I'm using my hands for that. And you can see it leaves this thing purple from where the iron sat. That coloring goes away. So don't think that you're burning your mat, but it leaves that on there. You're not burning anything. It's just what it does. All right. So I need to bind all of these quilts, but I am not going to do them right now because I want to get off here, eat my other enchilada, and relax because I'm pooped. So I got 2 done. They're right there hanging up. So I got 2 bindings of 5 done. All right. So any questions before I get off of here, guys? Oh,
yes, it's binding ease.
yeah, binding ease, EAZE. Yep, that's probably why it's not being found, you guys. But you can use my link to do that. And just type in EAZE. I'll have to get a direct link for it. I'll put it in the. Yeah. All right. Yep, it's $30.
What size is your large Dresden plate you showed us?
That one's a 30. What was it? 30 something inches. I have videos of quilting 6 of those from the Dresden sew along.
Oh, Jim posted the link in for him. Jim has the link posted in there.
Yep, Jim put a link there. 31 inches square is how big this Dresden is. This is just one of my wall hangings. Yep. I have a whole series though where I made a Dresden quilt, and then I also gave you guys quilting ideas with 6 singles like this. And yeah, so this is the one I kept out of all 6 for myself.
Blade size?
These are the large Missouri Star blade for 10-inch strips from the Missouri Star Dresden is what we used for these. These are big ones.
Do you have an AccuQuilt?
I do have a little AccuQuilt Go Baby and an 8-inch cube thing, or I don't know, 6-inch cube thing. I don't know what it's called. 6-inch cube. I have 6-inch cube that makes 6-inch blocks for a little AccuGo Baby. All right, is that it? right. Well, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. All right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out. Sorry about earlier, the beginning, this being 2 videos, but in the other video, all I showed was the making of the hook thing where I used this foot, whatever. I used that. I can't think of the word for it, but anyway, I used that. No, it creates a whatever edge. I don't know. Anyways, good night, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with me. Bye.